Author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
That's what I'm talking about. Hello, everybody. This is Robert Ferguson. I am not in a place where I can have my camera on, but you can see a picture of me. I'm happy to be here. And what I'm going to share with you in a pretty short period of time is some information that I believe you want to know about. And if it's not for yourself, then maybe you have a friend, maybe you have a family member, maybe you know someone, maybe you have a client, maybe you met a lady or man at the grocery store and you find out that they're pre-diabetic or they have type 2 diabetes. Maybe you know someone who has high blood pressure. Maybe you know someone who's taking this drug called metformin and they don't like how it feels. Well, I'm going to share with you some really cool information, something that has taken place with us. But before I dive in, let me just say thank you for being here. I want to encourage you to share, like, comment, let me know where you're coming from, because this is very important. And when I say this is important, we're talking about this thing primarily. I'm going to share a study that we did in-house with my own clients. We're going to talk about type 2 diabetes. And as I mentioned, if it's not you, it's probably somebody that you know. I mean, right now, at this very moment, nearly 38 million Americans, okay, that's 1 in 2, are living with type 2 diabetes. And this is even more staggering. Nearly 100 million adults right here in America, okay, that's like 1 in 3 have pre-diabetes, and 8 out of the 10 adults that have pre-diabetes have absolutely no idea that they have it. Now, since the beginning of the Diet for Your Life methodology, I've been helping and working with people with type 2 diabetes. And most recently, we took 37 people that we worked with, and 92% of these people who were full-blown type 2 diabetics, full-blown, are no longer diabetic. Okay, I hope you hear what I'm saying. And if you know anything about the Diet for Your Life methodology, you know that we learn how to eat regular food. Now, some of you are personal trainers, may come across this, and you have parents who are diabetics. Don't keep this a secret. Now, I'm sure you could probably help them. Maybe you're getting ready to help them. But don't keep this a secret. Too many people are living with this, and they don't have to live with this. They really don't have to live with this. Life could be lived like totally different, you guys. They could get their life back. You know what I'm saying? They could get their life back. Now, I'm going to share with you these studies, but I want to share just a little bit more with you. Now, if you're new to me, go over to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, because if you don't want to miss anything, if you have a YouTube account, which everybody can have a YouTube account, then you can always go there, click on the lives, and you can see whatever you miss, and you can watch it at your convenience. And you can copy, paste, send it to someone who it could help them. Okay. Man, this is exciting. So let me just share with you some information. And you know what? It just breaks my heart that a lot of people will never know that life could have been lived differently. They will never know. Type 2 diabetes is killing a lot of people. It's horrible. It really is. Okay. Now, as I share this information with you today, let me switch it up. There we go. That's what I want. In our trials, we've done 2 evidence-based clinical trials. And in our last one that we did back in Pennsylvania, 100% of the people who participated in our trial, so we had third parties there, improved all metabolic health. Triglycerides improved, blood pressure improved, hemoglobin A1C, everything improved. So our methodology, like, everything can improve. Everything. Okay, so it's not like maybe, everything. We had, of all the people that we've had on this drug called metformin, 87% of the clients that I've had in just the last year that were taking metformin are no longer taking metformin. No longer taking metformin. Please hear what I'm saying. No longer taking a drug that they didn't like how they felt. And many doctors have told people that once you start taking this drug, you're going to probably take it for the rest of your life. 87%. That's nice. That's nice. So if you know anyone who's taking metformin and they don't want to take it anymore, then tell them to reach out to us. 80% of the people that were taking blood pressure medication, that's 8 out of every 10 people, they're no longer taking blood pressure medication. Who can say that? There's not a lot of people that can say that. If someone's taking blood pressure medication and they live long enough, when it comes to an end, it's not good. If you know anybody who was on high blood pressure medication, they're no longer here, trust me, they could have had a much better ending if they had gotten off blood pressure medication. If you know it doesn't have to be about you. Do you know anybody? And a whole bunch of people are taking blood pressure medication. There's people right now who will hear this presentation and they know people, they have family members, they have loved ones, and they will not tell them about this. The psychology of why we don't share things that could help someone, it blows my mind. And some people I'm speaking to, I'm speaking to you, and you're not doing anything. You're not going to do anything about it. And I'm not here to beat you up. I'm just saying, I want to encourage you. Do something about it, okay? Do something about it. Now, let's get into this study. But before I go there, I just want to share just a couple more things because I'm getting ready to do this challenge. And this challenge is going to be working with a lot of African Americans. And when it came to type 2 diabetes, it was just mind-blowing what I've seen. Black women who have type 2 diabetes or had gestational diabetes, you're 3 times more likely to lose a limb. 67% of Black women right now are obese. Over 50% of Latin, Hispanic women are obese. 42% of adults in America are obese. Now, we're not talking about obesity right now, but the same things that have helped people reverse their type 2 diabetes can help them reverse the obesity, get rid of the excess body fat. Okay, let's just get into it. Now, here's what happened in this study. And if you have questions, please post. If you got questions, but let me share this with you. Now, you can see in the photo, we have a woman, and next to it, it says 92% reversal of type 2 diabetes. So basically, for every 10 people that come to me or with any of our coaches, because we teach a validated, verified, and reproducible methodology, 9 out of 10 will reverse their type 2 diabetes. This is what the data is demonstrating. Now, this is a small population, but there's not a whole bunch of people that can say, I had 32 type 2 diabetics come in with hemoglobin A1Cs up to 16%. And 12 to 18 months later, there's only 3 of them that are still type 2 diabetic. Everybody else is now in the pre-diabetic phase or is fully reversed. That's powerful. 12 people, type 2 diabetics with fasting glucose well over 300. Hemoglobin A1Cs 14, 11, 13, 12%. Today are no longer diabetic. No longer. 22 who were completely full type 2 diabetic. They are no longer diabetic. They're in the pre-diabetic phase. And soon they will transition and no longer be a full-blown type 2 diabetic. Out of 37, 3 are managing their type 2 diabetes. 1 is using insulin. The other 2 were still working. They're not out of it. I'm still coaching them. So out of 37 people, we know that we have a methodology that can get people out of the place of being a type 2 diabetic. Now, what if they don't do anything about it? Because a lot of people don't. Many people are pre and they'll become diabetic. And then it can get worse and worse and worse. Well, as I was talking to one of my clients earlier, there's so much misinformation out there. So when we show stats like this, it becomes important because you have people out there telling other people to avoid pineapple, don't eat watermelon, mango. All of those foods are too high in sugar. Oh, stay away from honey. Carrots, too high in sugar. Well, all of these people who are no longer type 2 diabetic, they ate watermelon, mango, pineapple, honey. Yep. So you've been given some information that's not accurate. And when you have data like this, there's people who can theorize, but in reality, we actually are doing it. We can put people on the phone, invite those people to a room. We have evidence-based clinical outcomes with third parties in place. And we're showing people how to eat regular everyday food. We're not avoiding carbs. So if you could reverse your type 2 diabetes and eat carbs and eat mango and pineapple and watermelon and all these things that people say, you have the option now. Okay, let's say you go do keto. Let's say you go do carnivore. And it may work for you. I don't know how long it's going to work for you. I don't know if the problems for you is going to be that you didn't consume certain things. But the studies, the data is pretty clear that most people can't live the rest of their lives like that. Most people don't want to live and rely on prepackaged foods. Most people want to eat regular, real food, but you have so many people telling them that those days are over. Well, they're not. And if you don't do something about your type 2 diabetes, this is what happens. You get to a place where you lose limbs. I was talking to one of my clients earlier today. She was sharing with me how one of her dear friends, type 2 diabetic, she knew about diet-free life. 4 years goes by, she loses a leg. I know someone else really well. They didn't want to lose their leg, so they decided to die. They chose to die, to leave their grandkids behind because they didn't want to live a life without a leg. And they weren't even interested in changing and learning how to eat. You get amputated. And if you're not dealing with amputations, or maybe you are still, then you find yourself sitting in a room that looks just like this. I was talking to another person, a doctor today. We were talking about where she lives. I'm not even going to mention the city, but they have a church. Then you see a liquor store, and then you see a dialysis center. This is a photo from a dialysis center. This is where many people, some people listening to me share this, this is where you will be. And it starts off 2-3 times a week. And then eventually you end up having a machine at your house to clean your blood. And when that happens, there's no turning back. A dialysis center is not where you want to spend 3 days, 3 hours plus each and every week. It's not fun. And it doesn't have to get to the point where this happens. I don't know how else to share it, but when you're getting people that come in that are full-blown type 2 diabetic, and in a short period of time, we're able to fully reverse their type 2 diabetes. That means they're like you and I. They're able to eat regular everyday food, but they learn a methodology. And then they're able to live the rest of their life. Live the rest of their life without the concerns of type 2 diabetes. When we teach people how to eat regular everyday food, they can lose fat. They can thrive with their health, with their energy. This is not playing games. Now, from a psychological standpoint, let's have a conversation. Okay. Let me ask you guys, for those who are catching me live, I would love, or even a replay. Let's say that you know somebody and you tell them about the diet-free life methodology and you encourage them, hey, why don't you do a free consultation with Robert? Why don't you here, watch this video? And they don't. And you watch their situation get worse. And you watch them play and attempt different ways of eating. but every year it constantly gets worse. What can we do about it? What can we do to get them off the fence? How do we get them to like look into it? What can we do to help people? Is it that they don't want to be helped? I don't believe that. Or is it one of those things where it's just going to take a little bit longer? They need to be in a little bit more pain. They need to have the doctor scream at them a little bit more before they come on board. Or maybe they just don't know what they don't know. That's what I think it is. They don't know what they don't know. Because as I was talking to one of my clients today, she was using agave nectar. I know that agave nectar is made up primarily of fructose, which can cause a fatty liver, that can cause insulin resistance. But there's a lot of people that use agave nectar because they heard that it's better on sugar and honey would be worse. Well, guess what? Who got it right and who got it wrong? If you're using agave nectar, stop it. You're looking at 70 to 90% of agave nectar being made up of fructose. Your muscles can't use fructose. Your brain can't use fructose. Your agave nectar has to go to the liver to be metabolized. And you're consuming something that is one of the causes for insulin resistance. But yet in your mind, and maybe someone told you that that's why you get a nutritionist who really knows their stuff, because there's a lot of nutritionists that encourage people to use agave nectar. And why would they do that? Because they're trapped in this whole philosophy that if you consume sugar, that's bad. Sugar has been demonized, and agave nectar doesn't cause your glycemic response to be elevated. That may be true. But if you go dig up some graves in Egypt, going back over 3,000 years, you're not going to find agave inside those tombs, but you will find honey, and it's still edible. Honey doesn't even spoil. God made honey available for us. Here's a gift. Good honey is ideal. That's what you want. Then I had someone say, oh yeah, you can't really eat watermelon. It's too high in sugar. I'm like, really? Watermelon is made up primarily of water. I don't know who told you that, but all of these people that I've shared with you, right? All of these people that we reversed their type 2 diabetes. We've had people lose up to 290 pounds. We have people that were concerned with diabetes and not anymore. And they're eating mango and pineapple and watermelon. They're eating regular bread. They're not eating keto bread. They're eating regular food. And we're getting results. Come on. Come on. Somebody talk to me. Now, a good place to start, let's say you go, I'm not really sure if I want to be coached. I'm not sure. Really? Okay, that's fine. At least do our 8-week fat loss challenge. Learn the methodology. You'll learn that in the 8-week fat loss challenge. Or get with a coach. If some coach told you about what we're doing and you looked it up and Google, next thing you know, you're here. Hey, do your due diligence. Go back to that coach and say, hey, look, I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to do this. And then stay the course. If you have pre-diabetes, you probably don't even know. Some of you are insulin resistant and you're kind of like playing games. Don't play games with yourself because it only gets worse. I'll give you an example. I was just interviewing one of the leading scientists when it comes to like protein synthesis. That means a person who's done over 100 peer-reviewed studies, right? That's a big deal around protein. And everywhere where I had questions about protein, he brought clarity to it. And one of the things that we know is that you want to get this down to a T after the age of 40. Why? Because after 40, when you lose muscle, it's almost, I'm not going to say impossible, but it's pretty close to impossible to get it back. And if you're not getting an adequate amount of protein throughout the day, notice I said throughout the day, because there's some people that are 50, 54, 55, 58 as far as age, and they're playing these games with fasting. And they go a long periods of time and they're wasting away, losing the opportunity to nurture that lean muscle that they have, because when it's gone, it's gone. You ain't building it back. And when you lose that muscle at 50, 55, 65, doing all these crazy diets, you become more compromised. You ever like look up, not just like heart attacks, cardiovascular disease, how many people, like that's still the leading killer around the world? What's right after that? Surprise, hip fractures. So many people get a hip fracture because they fell down. They go in the hospital, they never come out. And if it happens once, it's probably going to happen again. They've experienced this thing called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia means vanishing flesh in Greek, meaning you're losing muscle. I've been talking about this since 1999. 1999. And as we mature in life, still, thousands of people are turning 65 all the time. And if you're not eating and moving in a way to preserve your lean muscle tissue, it's gone. Yes, it's important to move and to be active. That's going to help. But if you don't have an adequate amount of protein coming in and the right type of protein, you could be active and still be losing that muscle. Now, if you're 25, you want to play games with diets, you're good. You'll recover. You're 35, you'll recover. But if you find yourself in a nursing home and you can't really move, or you get hurt, or you get sick, yeah, you're going to lose weight, but what kind of weight? If you're not getting an adequate amount of protein throughout the day, distributed throughout the day, all of the studies, all of the data, and I knew this, but then it was shared with me by this guy is like top dog. And he was pulling out paper after paper, sharing this with me. And it broke my heart because I know a lot of people that are out there guessing, playing games. And I'm not being mean. There's not a dig. When I say playing games, I'm just saying, let's get real. Let's get real. My favorite book, as I say all the time, is very clear. It says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Okay. Don't perish. Excuse the pun. I'm talking about lean muscle tissue for the lack of knowledge. Having healthy muscle helps glucose uptake. If you're pre-diabetic, type 2 diabetic, hitting the weights, that's a good thing. Being active, that's a good thing. Stretching, that's a good thing. If you got fatty liver, okay, well, think about it. That means there's some insulin resistance going on. It's in the liver. Where else could it be? It could be intramuscular. It's definitely happening with the fat cells. We got to get rid of that fat. We got to bring everything back. And the sooner we do it, the better. There's a lot of people going to the next party. A lot of people dancing, eating this and eating that, and not learning. I believe, and I'm almost done. This is what I believe. I believe that most people don't take advantage of what we're sharing right now because of ego. And I've known this for years because I saw it when I used to do a lot of work in rape and assault prevention. Ego blocks many people. And when I say ego, I'm saying they don't like to ask for help. The clients I love working with are the ones that go, I need help. Sometimes they go through cancer. They have a cancer scare and they survive it. Those people, they get pretty serious, at least for a short period of time. Then when you go to the doctor, when they like come in and they go over your lab work and they tell you all the things that you really didn't want to hear. And you leave, sit in the car by yourself for a moment and just start crying. I've heard this from a lot of people. And then at that moment, you're motivated to do something. At that moment. And then we go back to our old ways. Come on. So I just want to encourage you, man. Take control. Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. All disease begins in the gut. Those are two quotes from Hippocrates. That was over 2,000 years ago. How did he know that? So I share the studies with you. 9 out of 10 people, if you know anybody who is a type 2 diabetic, please share this with them. They can reach out to us. They can ask questions. We will help them. It could be your mom. They're not too far gone. At least bring it up to them. We're here to help. We have programs for all types of people when it comes to finances. I have helped many people who reached out and they couldn't afford it. But I felt that they were serious and they wanted to be healthy. They wanted to get control. They wanted to learn. And then what every person, no matter if they got money or not, what they all eventually learn is that they wish they had done what we offer earlier, because you can eat regular everyday food you have at home. You just learn how to eat foods in the right combinations, the right portions. You're satisfied. I mean, if you look at my feed on Facebook, I had collard greens for Easter with smoked turkey, and I made mac and cheese. I mean, come on. I have many of my former type 2 diabetic clients had similar food. I had some people over to the house that have been very successful in losing weight, and they're healthier and they're thriving. But again, I don't know what it is. I really don't get it. I don't get it. And I see it all the time, right? It's like when I go do a seminar, the people who come, they're looking for clarity. They're looking for answers. A lot of people are looking for shortcuts, and they want to keep their lie alive, meaning they have way more comfort with the lie, and they don't want to have to change anything. And so that works for them. But eventually, as one of my very dear friends, a physician, tells me all the time, eventually, Robert, they'll think about you. If they've come across it or if they've seen it, they'll think about you. Or they'll come to you, because eventually they may get in a situation where they're like, I got to do something about this. I got to do something. Now, in closing, I'll say this. No matter what your situation, no matter who you are, don't give up. Whether you work with me or someone else, don't give up. You can find the answers. I mean, it's out there. You can be successful, and you can reverse your situation if it's not in a good place. Not every person, of course, but a whole bunch of people can. When those 37 people decided to become my client, and they were full-blown type 2 diabetic, and I can tell you right now that 92% of them are no longer type 2 diabetic. I mean, I'm excited about that. Jack LaLanne used to tell me all the time, he says, Robert, if you're excited about something, don't keep it a secret. I'm not keeping it a secret. And I'm going to be more and more bold like this, because no one else can say this. I mean, I live in a county, most of the time I'm in Ventura County, California. And then I'm in Florida. But right now I'm spending more time in Ventura County, California. And there are a lot of type 2 diabetics, same as in any city. And again, there are people who know type 2 diabetics, and their situations aren't getting better. And they know what I do and have done. And again, they will not tell that person. Help me understand that. And there's people who I know are type 2 diabetics. Some of them are listening to this right now, or they'll catch the replay, and they're not doing anything, and their situation ain't getting no better. And so then they'll fall prey to like, okay, I'm just going to take Ozempic. No, I'm going to do Wegovy. Oh, I'm going to do more junk. And they just start doing other medications, because people follow the flood, right? They follow the groupies. And they don't even know, and the doctor's not going to tell them, because every time you got to come in and get injected, that's a doctor's visit. Somebody's getting paid. Your insurance is paying for it, and you don't even know the long-term effects of what that drug is going to do. And there's parts about that drug that I guarantee you that your doctor has not shared with you. And I'm talking about the enzymic, the enzymes that are impacted as a result of this drug. They cause that fat cell to get smaller, and you start to duplicate more of those fat cells, which means the day that you get off of that drug, and your mind, you're like, no, I think I got this. No, you don't got it. And I hope you got it, but you don't got it. The data is clear. You would be extremely rare if you don't gain that weight back. And those fat cells that had these enzymes keeping the fat cells small, if there's nothing to stop that, then those fat cells are going to swell back up. And now you got more of them that are going to just grow. It has nothing to do with your willpower and that you feel you can control your hunger. I don't know what else to say. I've said what I can say. All I know is that we're here to help you. And if you want help, reach out to us. If you don't want to coach, at least do our challenge. And if you don't want to do any of that and you're just on the fence, then, make sure you go to our YouTube channel, like, subscribe, so that whenever I'm sharing information, that you will be informed, because I will be sharing a whole bunch more information about this as I am preparing from this very moment to go to Wisconsin and have a good time with some good people. So if you're in Wisconsin, reach out to us, learn about it, especially if you're catching this before the 14th of April. And we'll tell you about where we're going to be. Maybe you can come out and be part of our time there. We're going to have a seminar for the general public. And then we're doing some coach training for those who are coaches who really want to continue to thrive with their careers and make a huge positive impact into the lives of people they come in contact with, as well as their community, yada, yada. Okay. I'm Robert Ferguson. I share because I care. Thank you for letting me share this information with you. These are real numbers, man. I mean, let's look at them one more. Look at this. Look at that. 37 people. They were type 2 diabetics. They were. 92% are no longer a type 2 diabetic. I mean, I've already talked about getting off blood pressure medication. I mean, we're over 80%. If you're on blood pressure medication and you're our client, the outcome is 8 out of the 10 people that we work with that are taking blood pressure medication will be off of it. I didn't even go into the statins. How many people we got off statins? Man, I got to add that. That's amazing. So anyway, thank you very much, you guys. Hey, enjoy this week. I'll be back live here in a couple days. And if you have questions, you can always email my assistant. Her name is Lori, Lori, at dietfreelife.com. Until the next one, peace.